everybody and welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy that you wanted to join me today because today I am going to take you guys through 10 things I don't buy anymore. I recently made a video about this as well, but it was more of a general things from just all over the place. So now I'm trying, because you guys seem to want more of these videos, and of course, I mean, it's great. Yeehaw! Since you guys wanted more of these videos, I thought it could be cool to sort of give them a theme. So today we're going to talk about kitchen things that I don't buy anymore. But before we do so, this video has a sponsor. Every time. This video is sponsored by Skillshare, and if you don't know Skillshare at this point, I don't know what you've been doing. I've been talking a lot about them. But Skillshare is this online learning community with amazing courses, over 1,000 different ones, and I have been going through all kinds of different stuff over this last year, and especially during lockdown, but I have really been getting into watercolor tutorials, and I don't know anything about drawing or watercolors or like creating art like that. I always loved doing it, but I'm very bad at it. So now I'm picking up a couple of basic skills, and I'm also just mesmerized by how creative and talented other people are. So if you want to become better or broaden your horizons or explore new skills, that's an amazing place to do so. The first 1,000 people to click the link in my description will get a free trial of Skillshare Premium. I did finger guns. You can't tell, this is a voiceover. Okay, back to the video. Thank you so much to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Now let's get into the things I don't buy. Kitchen edition. The first thing I don't buy anymore is baking sheets. I haven't bought baking sheets for a short while. It's not one of those things that I haven't bought in 5 years. This is sort of like a 9 months, 10 months going kind of thing, because I recently switched from baking sheets to a silicone baking mat, and I'm so happy that I did, because it's just a lot easier. You won't ever run out. You will just pick it up from your drawer and use it and wash it and put it back in your drawer, and I think it's so much easier, and it's a reusable product rather than using disposable products. Depending on what kind of baking sheets you are getting, some of them are more eco-friendly than others, and some are coated with waxes, plastics or bleaches, which is not amazing. Others are completely natural and can go in your compost, and that's all very amazing, but I'm just really happy with my silicone baking mat as well. By the way, if I mention a product, I will leave it down below as a link if you want to go and pick it up yourself or look at it into it more. Yada yada. I got you, fam. The next thing I don't buy anymore shouldn't come as much of a shock, but I'm going to specify a little bit. But I don't buy plastic bags in general. The plastic bags I don't buy, I want to talk about now, are plastic bags for freezing. And freezing things in plastic bags has been the only method I've known about for such a long time. But ever since going zero waste, I have started freezing in glass jars, and that might sound a little bit, won't they break? Won't they, you know, ooh, ee. Actually, the trick is quite simple. Every time I freeze something down, first of all, I make sure that it's room temperature. I don't try to freeze anything down that's boiling hot. That's just not gonna happen. And that can put some extra pressure on the glass, and that can make it break. And I always leave about 2 fingers worth of space on top for the liquid inside to expand when it freezes. When you don't do that, your glass will also break. So when you do these 2 things, it is very unlikely that your glass will break. You will have to be really unlucky. I haven't ever had a glass break in my freezer yet. So I mean, scoreboard. And it's super convenient because you already have these containers at home, and you can even reuse containers you get from your grocery store for instance, jam jars or peanut butter jars, stuff like that. And you can use that to freeze or to store leftovers both in the freezer and in the fridge. I mean, number 3 is paper cupcake molds. I don't think I've ever bought a paper cupcake mold. You know the ones I'm talking about. I'm obviously going to insert some pictures so you know what I mean as well. But the reason why I haven't ever purchased those is because when I was 10 years old, my grandmother, she gave me some silicone baking molds, and I've been using those ever since. And those fit in perfectly with my zero waste lifestyle because they're reusables. I've been using them for such a long time, and they're honestly way better because they sort of make the dough stay in place a little bit, so it rises up instead of outwards, and I love them for practical purposes and for sustainability purposes as well. And you can also use them for storage in your lunchbox and make everything nice and, you know, like organized in little compartments, and it's all win-wins. I really, really like these silicone baking molds. I've mentioned 2 things in silicone, and if you're interested in the environmental impact of silicone, I've also made a video about that, so you can go and check that out as well. The link is obviously down below. Number 4 of kitchen things I don't buy anymore is micro meals, or microwave meals, or microwavable meals. I don't know do they have a specific terminology? Food you buy frozen, you put in your microwave, and then bam, you have dinner. I haven't ever really tried those, and I honestly don't think it's that common in Denmark to do either. Maybe it is. I just really like cooking, and I love making big batches, so I can simply just take something from my freezer and I can make that instead. But buying processed food generally comes with more packaging. It's also generally unhealthier the more processed it is. And I try to stay away from those types of foods and dinners and simply just go with something easier that I can make at home. And yeah, it also comes with a lot of plastic, so even on my days where I'm super lazy and I really don't want to do anything, it sort of motivates me a little bit to, you know, like get a baguette without plastic and get some greens and get some pasta and then just... And honestly, I always end up enjoying that tons more, because if the microwavable meals were super mind-blowingly delicious, maybe that would work as a temptation to sort of do it once in a while. And even if you do these things once in a while, like, it's okay. I just don't for many reasons, but because they just collectively suck a little bit, I have no need. Okay. Number 5 is rice in plastic bags. Honestly, it's any kind of food that is divided inside its packaging in smaller plastic bags. But specifically with rice, I think it's something that happens a lot. In my local grocery store, you can get tons of rice in cardboard packaging. And every time you go and you look for rice, there are rice in plastic bags and there are rice in cardboard packaging. But a lot of the times, the rice inside is neatly divided into small, ready-to-boil, ready-to-serve packs. And the only reason to sort of avoid those is by doing the shake test, you know, like is there plastic inside of this? But specifically with rice, the portion sized bags, I don't really feel like I have the need for, also because no brand and no company is going to tell me how much rice I can eat in one sitting, like it's none of their business. But for me, that is an intensely unnecessary plastic bag that I don't have use for at all. I simply just scoop out rice from my jar or from my cardboard box and I pour water into it, I boil it, and everything is fine. No need for the plastic bag in my case. Number 6 is aluminium foil. I haven't used this in a really long time, and I remember once I went zero waste, I still had tons of it left, so it actually took me quite a long time to sort of use it up, because I just also didn't want to toss everything in the bin because it's, you know, it's still metal. So I slowly used the last roll of alu foil that I had, and I rinsed it off after I'd used it, and I put it with recycling and everything was great. But I'm not going to repurchase it because I have so many other options when it comes to food storage, and I've talked about this quite a lot, I feel like. But you can either use the glass jar, you can use 2 plates on top of each other, you can use a wax wrap. There's just so many other neat ways to store food. Perhaps you're wondering then, what does she do if she wants to bake a potato, or if she wants to make a dish that requires it to be covered in aluminium foil while baking, stuff like that? Then I will either skip that step or find a recipe that does not call for it. So, number 7 is elastic bands. And in my last 10 things I don't buy video, I talked about how I don't buy hair ties, but for a very different reason, but honestly also kind of similar if you don't think about it. But I don't buy elastic bands. I use elastic bands, but there's absolutely no need to buy them, because I go to my farmer's market and I get my groceries there, and they usually use an elastic band around some of the groceries, like around the spinach or around the parsley or the dill, stuff like that. There's always like a little elastic band around it, and I simply just reuse those. So in my kitchen drawer I have a little compartment where I save them and I use them over and over until they break. So there's really no need for me to go out and buy a box of elastic bands when I get them for free all the time. So number 8 is cleaning sponges. I haven't bought those either in a really long time. You know, the ones I'm talking about, the yellow ones with like the green fuzz on top, or sometimes they come in other colors as well. Yeah, those I don't buy, and I don't buy them because they're just made of plastic, and every time you use them they release microplastic, which goes directly into our water and our oceans, and it's big yikes, very sad, yeehaw. Instead, I use my cotton cloths and I simply just fold them until they have sort of the same size, and I use that instead. You can simply just use your kitchen cloths like a cleaning sponge because it works in the completely same way. And I also have a bit of a rougher cleaning cloth that I can fold, and it functions as the rough side of the sponge, so there's really no need. I have everything I need in my drawers. Number 9, pots and pans with Teflon. In my kitchen right now there actually is a pan with Teflon, and it was here when I moved in. And obviously if you have any of these things, don't just throw them away because I said that I never buy them. Use them until you can't not use them anymore, and then you can switch up and, you know, yada yada, do the things that you do. But I don't buy these things anymore, not even if I find them in thrift shops, because Teflon is super toxic. It's so bad, and it's really ooh. And a lot of conventional dental floss actually has the same coating as Teflon, which is even more gross. And there's also the thing that with Teflon pots and pans you can't use metal, and you can't use a lot of different things that aren't plastic, and I don't think that works out. That does not pass the vibe check in my kitchen. So instead I have stainless steel and I have cast iron, and I love to use those in my cooking. It's such a joy, it's such a pleasure, and I don't need the convenience of Teflon. You just need to map out and figure out the temperament of your stainless steel and cast iron ware instead, because you can actually get the same effect. You just need to understand how they work. I don't support the Teflon thing. I don't like it, just because, you know, every time you use something that has Teflon coating, you're sort of scraping away a little bit of it, and it goes into your food and it goes into your body, and it's not supposed to be there. And number 10 is plastic food storage, sort of like Tupperware. I haven't ever owned anything like that, I think. And when I moved in here with Jens, he had plenty of these plastic containers, and I know they're really convenient and a lot of people like them. I just haven't bought them ever, and now I don't need to because I have all of these other great food storage alternatives. So what we actually did, because I came here with all my jars, just like, we gave those to charity, and as we have seen down in our local charity shops, they're already gone because people actually really like them. So I mean, it's a win-win for everybody. But I specifically don't like them because they're really hard to recycle, whereas a glass jar or wax wrap or all these things are super easy to take apart, recycle, compost, yada yada. It's just so much easier, and I don't see any reason to start buying Tupperware now. If you do have it, it's great because some of it is really good quality and can last you 20-30 years, which is really cool. But so can a glass jar, if you take care of it, I might add. So that was 10 things that I don't buy anymore, that I really don't feel like I need to buy. If you buy any of these things now and you want to stop buying them, you can do that and then just use what you have at home. Don't just go out and toss everything in the bin. That's not the point of sustainable living or zero waste at all. That is not how we do. And if you're dependent on some of these items and you literally do not have the option to cut them out, then start your sustainable journey elsewhere. Don't beat yourself up if you're really seriously dependent upon a product that's made with plastic or, you know, anything else like that. We're all different and have different needs, and people with disabilities are also welcome in the zero waste community. Just wanted to clear that as well. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you liked this video. You can leave a comment down below as well and tell me if there are any things from the kitchen department that you don't buy anymore, and tell me if you want to see a bathroom or a bedroom edition of this video as well. Thank you so much to Skillshare for sponsoring this video, and I will see you guys next time. Take really good care of yourselves. Until then, bye! Thank you so much for watching this video, and also a special thank you to my Patreon supporters. You guys help me create green zero waste content, and I love you guys. You can find the links to my social media accounts down below and the link to my Patreon on this screen. Bye!